Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
We're so excited.
I'm excited to have you guys. We're just gonna wait a couple more minutes to get people to join the Zoom. There's some people watching the YouTube live stream a little bit.
Meek, you look so gorgeous.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. We're just waiting for a couple more people to join, and we'll get started. Hello, everybody. How are you all doing? Thumbs up if you're doing that.
Good.
Okay, so tonight we are at our first day of the Black History Month Festival, and we're so happy for you guys to be participating. Earlier today, we had a really good turnout for our first live art experience that was hosted by our Director of Outreach, Marcos Rivera. That was a lot of fun, and we're so happy to continue celebrating Black History Month. in this way and still having such a great turnout online. My name is Micaela Guzman. I am the president of Musicians for Social Justice. And here today we have Marcos Rivera, director of outreach, Vaughn Jones, our vice president and executive secretary, and Dr. Tamara Freeman, who is our wonderful faculty advisor. Tonight we are going to be touching on the topic of the music of Black history. A little bit about MSJ. This is our third annual Black History Month celebration. We're so excited. Our first year, we started in G55 and we had about 80 participants. It was a one-day event. Yeah, it was very last minute, a lot of late night rehearsals. And the next year, we turned our event into a gala where we invited visual artists to join us, and that was a really great turnout. I think we had over 200 people attend, and we had like about $90 in donations. And we had the Bonner leaders come, and it was just a really fun time. And this year we have a 2-day festival. And we have a lot of people registered for different events. And we have gotten a overwhelming amount of donations, which has been extremely heartwarming and really just great. And we've had so much support throughout our virtual year. With that being said, I'd just like to thank our presenter for tonight, and I will let her introduce herself to you.
Hi, everyone. So I'm going to start screen share and we'll get started. Okay, can everybody see and hear me?
Yeah, Gabby, you're good.
Okay, awesome.
Yay.
So, just a little bit about myself. My name is Brielle Renee. My friends call me Gabby. My full name is Gabby. I am a junior here at Montclair State. I study English and I minor in journalism. Some of my pictures aren't loading here. I hope that's not going to be like a problem throughout this. But in my free time, I spend a lot of time on TikTok, which I feel like we all do. But a part of what I do on TikTok is this thing called So You Think You Don't Have Culture, the African American Culture series. Basically, I feel like there have been like coordinated efforts to kind of strip African Americans of both the culture that we've created here in America and like our ancestral culture that was kind of somewhat lost throughout the transatlantic slave trade. So I use my platform, I hate calling it a platform because it's like, I use whatever outreach I have to kind of highlight African American culture, whether it be little things, the African English, or just different kinds of things that are present in culture. And I also just for regular fun videos. So let's see if this wants to work now. Bear with me. I don't know. Canva doesn't like to work for me sometimes. Okay. But yes, I just recorded my debut single. Hopefully it's going to come out sometime either this month, not this month, either March or in April. So stay tuned for that. And now we can get into the presentation. Before we get into the presentation, I wanted to take some time to kind of highlight that today is the 9th anniversary of the murder of teenager Trayvon Martin. And I know we were all like, I know a lot of us were very young when it happened, and it kind of traumatized, but it also kind of awoke something within us. So I wanted to take a moment of silence. Thank you all. Just kind of keep him in your memory. I was thinking about how like when it happened, I was 12 and now I'll be 21 in like a week. And it's like we started off younger than him when this happened, but now we're older than him and we can look back and view him as the child that he was when it happened. On to the presentation. This is called The Music of Black History. So I came up with this, well, me, Mick, and Vaughn kind of came up with this together. They reached out to me, and we wanted to kind of highlight the kind of soundtracks of the movements that have happened, both in the past, paying some homage to our predecessors, and kind of highlighting artists today that have that civil responsibility. Let me do it. So I want this to be very interactive, very conversational. So when you think Black history makers, who or what comes to mind? You can just shout it out. I can't see your hands because I'm screen sharing.
Beyonce.
Beyonce, period.
My ancestors.
Period. Your ancestor. I don't know who's speaking either. Can you guys say your names while you like?
It was Sinclair.
Okay, period. Sync.
Hello, it's Dr.
Ella Fitzgerald.
Ella Fitzgerald. Yes. I heard somebody else too.
Frederick Douglass.
Frederick Douglass, definitely. Okay,
Harriet Tubman.
I'm
Malcolm
sorry.
X.
Hear that last one.
Harriet Tubman.
Harriet Tubman, yes.
And Malcolm X.
Malcolm X, definitely, which I feel like he doesn't get as much shine as he needs to. Those are all great answers. So now I'm going to ask you another question. When you think of Black or African-American musicians, who comes to mind? I know some of them are musicians, but please shout it out with your name.
Nina Simone, Sinclair.
Michael Jackson.
Marian Anderson, Dr. Freeman.
Louis Armstrong.
You got Shaka Khan.
Shaka Khan.
Nat
Definitely.
King Cole.
Nat King Cole. Oh my gosh, just bring Christmas. Definitely, definitely. Okay, so I kind of wanted to talk about, I briefly touched on this both. So I want to think about people who made Black history and also people that made strides both socially and musically in their time. So let's touch on the predecessors, right? You know, we had, I think Tora mentioned Nina Simone, you know, where every chance she got, every interview she had, she made sure that people knew where she stood both civically and musically. We think about songs like A Change Is Gonna Come, and we think about songs like What's Going On, Marvin Gaye. And of course, I know Cicely Tyson isn't a musician per se, but I did just want to honor her by placing her there. So yes, like we're thinking about people that took the responsibility when they didn't have to. I know a lot of these people during their time had issues deciding, where am I going to stand? You know, am I going to just be a singer? Am I just going to make music for everyone, which everyone is often not inclusive? Or am I going to take a stand and try to help my people, elevate my people via music? So before we get into people that are doing it nowadays, I wanted to give a bit of historical context. So I have a short 5-minute video that we're going to take a look at, and then we're going to go into people that are kind of making that connection in today's music. Let's see. Never know with Zoom. Let me know if you can hear it. Press play. Yeah. Can everybody see the screen that's loading right now?
27 years
Yeah, we
of
can hear
waiting,
it.
legendary soul Marvin Gaye won his very first Grammy in 1983.
Nobody thought that anybody would be interested in Black music outside of Black circles.
Kevin Velez is an ethnomusicologist at Columbia University. He studies how music shapes communities and influences cultures, specifically African American cultures. Velez explains how Black culture was hijacked from African Americans by white people, used to create false narratives about Black culture, but then ultimately and incredibly used to shape the narrative of civil rights movements that fight for the reclamation of Black freedom and culture.
You have the abolitionists, and on the other hand, you have these blackface minstrel groups that are kind of reinforcing and reproducing ideas about Blackness that, sort of making an implicit argument against Black freedom. Whites actually thought this was real Black culture that was being performed by predominantly Irishmen in the early years in blackface.
Oh, you white folks cleared away. Breastplate itself moves. Donkey's eyes look just like moons.
That's why the kind of stereotype of Black people gets cemented. And so the Fifth Jubilee singers, when they show up and say, no, that's not Black culture, this is Black culture. The Fifth Jubilee singers offered this other kind of music and this other kind of representation of Black life and Black interiority that opposes the kind of broad, demeaning stereotypes that are being presented on blackface minstrel stage. It's, implicitly political instinct.
It was the 1870s when the Fisk Jubilee singers hit the stage. And according to Velez, that's the first time that African Americans were able to use their music to start promoting Black freedom and equity to the mainstream audience. But it certainly wasn't the last.
One reason it's used so much by social movements of any stripe is because of music's sort of inherent emotional as well as intellectual connection with people. And sort of bringing to consciousness for people, ideas and maybe political situations that they might not otherwise have thought about necessarily.
It seems like from birth I was cursed with a guilty complexion. Can't even walk the streets in peace without the fears of being arrested. Now the community is divided. We dying by thousands from this virus. Stays in shambles and riots. Like when Marvin used to say, what's going on?
Grammy-nominated R&B singer Raheem DeVaughn is known as the Love King for his sultry ballads like Woman and Customer.
You want to play it from the top?
But years ago, after the success of his debut album, the High Point High School graduate faced a crossroads in his career. He asked himself, do I make the music that people need to hear right now? Or do I make the music that I think people want to hear?
I made a decision long ago as an artist that, I wanted my music to be something that is timeless, evokes change, but also has the energy of love.
That many famous Black musicians have had to grapple with in the past. Artists like Stevie Wonder, Earth, Wind & Fire, Marvin Gaye, who had to weigh the cost of making the music that inspired change for Black people.
So what's really important about Marvin Gaye and that recording too is he had been, a romantic soul man. In 1970, he approaches Berry Gordy and says, the tide is changing. I've written these other kinds of songs. And Berry Gordy's like, no, nobody wants to hear socially conscious music.
Marvin Gaye fought for the integrity of making a record like What's Going On when the label told him that they didn't feel like it was a wise move. It's the same reason that I put out the album I put out 10 years ago, the Love and War Masterpiece, when I was told that wasn't a wise move for me. You fight for what's right. You fight for what matters.
So when you get to the civil rights movement in the 50s, there's already this sense of using music to press forward a social agenda. Sort of makes white America aware that Blacks have this whole musical tradition. The civil rights movement, when they bring gospel music outside of Black churches, there is this kind of precedent already.
A precedent that allowed artists like DeVaughn to use his music to hopefully impact another generation of social change.
What's the use of still saying prayers if deaf ears they fall on? When you think about artists like Marvin Gaye, who spoke about what was going on at that time and the fact that history repeats itself, I think this is the most monumental time that we've had to be able to bring forth change. It reminds me of a song, What's Going On? Marvin used to say, tell me what's going on.
Okay, so I know that video was kind of a lot to take, but we're going to discuss it. Okay. I liked how they talked about kind of the tradition of using music as a means to a political or social end. So with that, who are some artists you feel are making a similar impact on today's activism? Again, you can shout it out with your name. We want to keep this very conversational.
Kendrick Lamar.
Definitely. Don't be shy.
I would say like Andra Day. She's kind of made her career off of making music that is very uplifting, and also I mean, some of like the MSU Bonner leaders, we went to the March for Our Lives, I believe a year and something back, and she performed there, and she had a group of kids. I don't know if you guys saw, there's a viral video of a bunch of urban students that go to an urban elementary school singing her song, and it went like viral. So she had them come sing at this event with her, and that was really awesome, you know, just to see like her use that platform to not only, you know, make her stand against what was going on very clear, but also using that opportunity to kind of give urban students and kids of lower class the opportunity to experience something that they probably wouldn't get had it not been for their video going viral. So that was like really awesome.
No, that's amazing. And I feel like part of this, like when we talk about like the tradition of using music to gain rights, basically, is like you're lifting other people up with you. Because, you know, you can get to a certain place, but then if you're not bringing your people up with you, then who are you sharing all this with? Those are great answers. And I kind of, for this next part, again, we're going to keep it conversational. We're going to look at some artists today. Some of them were named actually that are using their music for social gain. And then we're going to like dissect their lyrics together. Trying to make it not feel too much like a class, because I know we're all tired of class, but think of it as like a music class, a rap class. Okay, we're going to start off with No Name, critically acclaimed rapper, spoken word poet, Black feminist, radical feminist activist, founder of No Name Book Club. So I feel like a lot of times rappers will say things, not to generalize rappers at all, but they'll say things like, you know, teach the youth, which is a great thing to say, but then you have to take steps to do it yourself. Because you can shout into the void all you want, but it takes that first person. So No Name has this thing she has an online book club where her and her followers will pick a book either of the month or week, I forget how frequently it is, and they'll read it and discuss it online together via Twitter and also on nonamebookclub.com. And the books always center around the African American experience, Black feminism, anti-capitalism, etc. So I really like that. Yeah, she's a rapper, and she's also focused on making her music, but she's using her music and her time outside of her music to promote these things. So I'm gonna read this verse, and then we're gonna talk about it together. I'm struggling to simmer down. Maybe I'm an insomni Black. Bad sleep triggered by bad government. Write a think piece in the rap song, The New Age Covenant. If you really think I'm cooking crack, then pass me the oven mitts. This is from Blaxploitation. Does anybody have anything that sticks out to them in this verse? You can take a minute to read it over. Again, shout it out.
The first thing I noticed, like in the first of all, I looked at Vaughn and I was like, holy crap, I didn't. I'm not familiar with No Name, but it's so easy to see, like, you know, how targeted the Black community is. Like that just like, hello, if you really think I'm cooking crack, pass me the oven mitts. Like there so many times that, you know, Black people, the Black community is generalized or made, you know, criminals just for being Black. You know, they get into these stereotypes. So that stuck out to me a lot in that verse.
Definitely. And I was kind of looking at it. Took me a couple times to read this over as I was practicing for this, but it made me think of like the war on drugs. And just even now, you know, weed luckily is becoming legalized in a lot of states, but then we still have, we're missing a piece. We're missing, okay, great, you know, 420, whatever, but now we need to expunge nonviolent weed records because people were getting and still are getting, mostly Black and brown people, locked up for something that a woman can sell in California, you know, like it's McDonald's. So I definitely, you know, I think that that part does kind of jump out. Does anybody else have anything that kind of jumps out at them about this verse?
For me, definitely the very beginning when No Name says, maybe I'm an insomni Black, bad sleep triggered by bad government. Like, for me, I thought back to when people were sharing videos on Twitter of like cops and like certain cars just going down streets and like honking at like in the middle of the night. And it was predominantly brown and Black communities, and they were not getting sleep, and they were, you know, they're trying to, you know, what's the word? Exhaust them. And it's basically just, you know, it's a war at this point, or it's like they're trying to create like, you know, a disturbance in the community.
Mm-hmm. Think this summer was so long. I forgot about that, but I did see this video, which I feel like the lyrics kind of say perfectly. This video of these two cops blasting like music. They were standing by their squad car and blasting music on their PA system. And it's like so much that your brain tries to compartmentalize and push stuff to the back. But definitely, literally, bad sleep triggered by lack of accountability and bad government. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next person. So if you didn't get a chance to speak, please do speak up. Her, Grammy Award-winning multi-instrumentalist. So I'm gonna read this out and then we can go through it together. What is a gun to a man that surrenders? What is it gonna take for someone to defend her? If we all agree that we're equal as people, then why can't we see what is evil? I can't breathe. You're taking my life from me. I can't breathe. Will anyone fight for me? From the song I Can't Breathe by her. Again, feel free to say anything that you feel speaks to you or anything that you want to speak on or anything that you just like, wow.
So the first two questions, what is a gun to a man that surrenders, and what it's going to take for someone to defend her, immediately had me thinking of this show. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you well.
Okay, I didn't see myself lighting up again. But there's this show on HBO, I think, called Lovecraft Country. Super good. Watch it. Really, really good metaphors about racism, and how white people have been piggybacking off of Black creation and Black people for centuries and generations, and have been silencing us and taking things away from us. And in the show, there's this character named Letty, and she moves into this giant house and her sister helps her clean it up so that these Black families can move in and have somewhere to be. And it's in a white neighborhood. And all of the white people park their cars in front of the house, put bricks on their horns, and just let their cars blare their horns every day, every night for days. And they keep like poking fun at them until Letty snaps and she takes a baseball bat and she bashes in everyone's car windows and rips the bricks off herself. And I'm like, it really just comes down to us. Like, why do we always have to defend ourselves? Why, even when we're doing nothing wrong, why do we constantly have to deal with some form of oppression? What is going on in someone's mind that they see us and they're immediately like, that person is less to me? And like, all she did was offer housing to people, and she was still belittled for it. She still faced racism, and she didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't like she went there and started selling drugs. She didn't do anything. And yet she still had to fight for no reason.
Definitely. First of all, that scene is iconic. I do highly suggest Lovecraft Country, HBO Max. But I think it's this assumption of guilt that just comes with being Black in this country and kind of anywhere in the colonized world. But it is, and I can feel like, you know, the like emotionality in your voice, and it's hard to continuously see things online or to hear your parents tell their stories of getting followed around in stores or getting followed around in stores even now ourselves. And it's just, where do we put all of that? You know, because if we protest, there's a wrong and right way to protest, or if you write about it online, you know, you risk possibly losing opportunities because you don't want to seem hard to work with. So there definitely is this constant, just this constant kind of compartmentalization that needs to happen in order to continue to function in a society of kind of white supremacy. And I know that might sound drastic, and I don't mean that every corner there's a Klan member, but white supremacy as in white is the default. That was really great, Sarah. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to say about this verse?
Hi, Abby. It's Dr. Freeman.
Hi, Dr. Freeman.
Hi. First of all, thank you very, very much. This is a brilliant presentation.
Thank you.
Of course, the end, I can't breathe, reminds me of George Floyd, of course. But how many other people have said that? We know that George Floyd said it. But how many other people are so blinded to evil that and not only are they blind to evil, but they're not hearing the evil. They're acting in a way that's so evil, but not only do they not see the evil, but they're not hearing the evil. And hearing one another through the spoken word, through music, is so sacred. It's so important. So to dismiss that voice of someone saying, I can't breathe, that is pure evil.
I completely agree, Doctor. It's just, even of course, you know, not seeing color is not, you know, a solution, but it's like, it's a person, you know, it's a person before it's a Black man. It's a person before it's a Black woman. Like, you see somebody in trouble and your first instinct should be to help, or at least to find someone that can help, you know? So like, when you see these videos going around, you're just like, how can you do that to someone? And you're absolutely right. George Floyd wasn't the first, and sadly, he will not be the last. I think about, you know, Eric Garner was also I Can't Breathe, and definitely, yeah, it's a lot. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think something also very interesting about this statement is, you know, we're talking about, Nafasi was talking about how, you know, for years and systematically, like, white has been the default, and, you know, has taken away the culture and, you know, inventions and creations of black people, and how even now, like, literally people are marketing off of the phrase I can't breathe. I have seen, like, I walk down like the shore in the summer, and you're like seeing t-shirts at these small businesses saying like I can't breathe. And like, I'll say, like, specifically in Ocean City, where there's not really many Black owners on the boardwalk, and so like they're making money off of, you know, these prints like I can't breathe, and it takes away the significance of the statement like I can't breathe.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I also saw, just to touch on, I saw this picture and it just made me so sick. There was an off-duty police officer wearing a shirt that said "I can breathe" and like mocking. And I was just like, how are you so vile? But anyway, let's not dwell too long on that. But definitely, Mick. And with that, like, I think it's, if you want to show your support for the Black Lives Matter movement, I think that's amazing. And I think, and in a lot of parts of this country, it's brave. But, if you're going to do that, just make sure that money is going back into what you want to help, back into the community, So I always try to kind of find a local or Black owned something to buy like my Black Lives Matter kind of I don't want to say regala, but like in a way things from, because it's great that you want to support, but I promise you, if you're buying it from a boardwalk in Jersey, it's not going to end up in the pockets of anyone that can help end what we're trying to end. Okay, on to Anderson .Paak. I kind of recently got into Anderson .Paak. He made this song "Lockdown" like during the brunt of the pandemic in the summer. And so I'm going to read it out, and then we're gonna dive into it. We was trying to protest when the fires broke out. Look out for the secret agents they planted in the crowd. Said it's a civil unrest, but you sleep so sound, like you don't hear the screams when we catching beat downs. Staying quiet when they killing niggas, but you speak loud when we ride. Got opinions coming from a place of privilege, sicker than the COVID, how they did him. Lockdown by Anderson .Paak. Does anything kind of stick out to you guys? Feel free to shout it out. It's okay. I can go first. Can everybody hear me? I'm going to take that as a yes. Okay. So one thing that kind of stuck out to me, this song is kind of brilliant. This is just one verse. But this part right here, it's civil unrest, but you sleep so sound, like you don't hear the screams when we catch and beat downs. I feel like this kind of goes back to this. For instance, when Colin Kaepernick first took a knee, or first sat, he sat first, and then people were like, that's disrespectful. There's a right way and a wrong way to protest. So he asked a friend of his that was in the military, like, is that disrespectful? And his friend said no, but he also wanted to take the time to consider everyone. So he instead took a knee. And then people kind of said, well, there's a right and a wrong way to protest. That's not right either. And then people took to the streets. There's a right and a wrong way to protest, and it just keeps going. So I appreciate how Anderson .Paak kind of took the time to say that no matter what you do, there was, in regards to fighting for your rights or fighting for some semblance of peace or safety when it comes to law enforcement in America as a whole, that there's always going to be someone that's going to disagree. But I feel like that's kind of a part of protest, is causing good trouble, like Representative John Lewis said, kind of stirring the pot a little bit so that people pay attention. Otherwise, nothing will happen. No change will come. Does anybody else want to kind of add anything that kind of stuck out to them in this?
One thing that really jumped out for me was then the fires broke out. Look at the secret agents, they'd be planted in the crowd. And that's just, really interesting, because another thing I was seeing on social media and following the protests over the summer, there were a lot of people who were in the crowds who, they were starting the looting and rioting. So it made BLM and just people who are going to these rallies and these protests to seem like they're the ones who are causing this, distress in the streets, and Black people and brown people are the ones causing this distress, when it's just like, no, we're here to speak our mind. And then people are coming in trying to make us look like the bad people.
Mm-hmm. I feel like social media is such a blessing and a curse. I also remember over the summer seeing a police van and a member in SWAT gear laying down cement bricks. And I was like, I was just like, wow, I didn't think we were this bad. I didn't think America's police system, I knew it was bad, like Rodney King, even before that, this is nothing new. But I didn't know how far, the police system would go. And I just saw that, and I was just like, we have so much, we're so much far back than I thought we were. Yeah.
I also saw a video of a policeman standing next to, I don't know if it was like a Target, and they basically either elbowed the glass or they like used their baton and they like hit it like kind of like discreetly, and like that kind of created an opening.
Exactly.
So of course, like, it's just like they're laying down these things like because they're like, oh, we know people are gonna do this and that, and it's disgusting.
Right. It's like, I get it. Nobody like can force you to eat or whatever, but so to speak, but it's like you're creating havoc, you're creating chaos, and then trying to pin it on Black people, which I feel like is something as old as or older than America itself. But yes, does anybody have anything else that kind of stuck out to them in this verse? If not, it's okay. We can move on. Lastly, somebody did mention Kendrick, and I just wanted to, he's not exactly, I don't want to call him old. He's not exactly in this, like, the exact same generation as the people I mentioned prior, but he just came, like, 2 or 3 years right before it. So I do want to mention Kendrick, Grammy Award-winning rapper, Pulitzer Prize-winning writer. I think he's the youngest person to win a Pulitzer and the first rapper. So this song is All Right. Nigga, we gonna be all right. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We're gonna be all right. What do you want? A house, you a car, 40 acres and a mule, a piano, a guitar, anything. See, my name is Lucy. I'm your dog. I don't want to read no, it's fine. Motherfucker, you can live at the mall. We can see the evil. I can tell it. I know when it's illegal. I don't think about it. I deposit every other zero. All Right, by Kendrick Lamar. Does anybody have anything that sticks out to them about the song? Don't be shy. There's no wrong answers. I know that's what teachers say, but there aren't really any wrong answers. Okay, it's all right if not. Some things that stuck out to me, I feel like We're Gonna Be All Right is kind of an old, like, idiom in the Black community. I know I've heard it way before this song. And it's like, there's this joy, like we have to rely on joy. And there's this funny, like, kind of stereotype about, Black people make a joke out of everything. I feel like that's kind of a coping mechanism. Like we have all of this generational trauma, etc. So joking about it or whatever is going to make us all right. And another thing that kind of stuck out to me is 40 Acres and a Mule. I know since Black Lives Matter started in 2013, but since this current wave, there has been talk of mutual aid and buying Black within your community and even reparations, which I feel like is a long shot. But just kind of realizing that these things were possible at one time and they can be possible again. And yeah, does anybody else want to?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Can I ask you to expound on, I deposit every other zero? That word zero keeps popping out at me because people can be made to feel like a zero. I'm wondering if he's referring more to monetary gain. That word zero has so many different connotations.
I think, well, that's an amazing kind of observation. I can tell it, I know when it's illegal, don't think about it, I deposit every other zero. At first I was thinking about like very base kind of, kind of taught to like cling to what you have, which I feel like a lot of rappers do that and they don't even look past that. But with Kendrick, it's like, yes, I'm going to work for what I have and I'm going to say what I have. But at the same time, I'm going to give back. I also kind of thought of it as I deposit every other zero. Zero can also mean like a loser. So I thought it's like I just trash every other zero, or I don't pay attention to the naysayers, the losers, etc. But that's what it kind of meant to me. I could be completely off base though. But yeah, there's a lot. I feel like Kendrick's music is very dense. Like you can like pick it apart, like for instance, this part up here, a piano, a guitar, kind of, he talks here about 40 Acres and a Mule being reparations, right? But then he lists a piano, a guitar, anything, where it's like, we couldn't get the reparations we need, so we're turning to music now. And music is going to be our way out because nobody else will give us a way out. There's a lot in these lyrics. But thank you for that, Doctor. If nobody,
oh,
go ahead,
I
please
just
go.
wanted to add really quickly. Music has also always been like our other coping mechanism,
Mm-hmm.
from like our spirituals to, the 50s. Like it's just always been music. So I think that could also have something to do with the meaning as well.
Definitely, Vaughn. I was thinking when we were watching the video earlier, they kind of touched on Negro spirituals a little bit, and it's like even you're working in the freezing cold, depending on where you are in the United States, or you're working in the burning heat, and then and you're singing, while you're working, and you're trying to make a little life of your own, like through your voice, definitely. But that is the end of the presentation. I want to thank you all for listening and talking and having this conversation with me. I want to wish you all a very happy Black History Month. I know it's only 28 days and we can celebrate all year. Again, you can find me on Instagram at @BrielleRenee_music, on TikTok, where I do my African American culture series, BrielleDBY_, and on YouTube, where I talk about kind of my life being raised up in a Baptist church, then going to Catholic school during the week, and how much that kind of shaped my music and my tone and my voice, etc. on YouTube at Brielle Renee Music. And that is it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was amazing.
Wonderful.
Okay, before you guys go, I just want to give you guys a heads up about our upcoming events for the rest of this weekend. Tomorrow at 2:00, we are having another live art experience, and those are all on Instagram. So if you guys don't follow us, you should follow us now at msu.msj. We are also having another one at 4:00. And those are hosted by our director of outreach, Marcos Rivera. And he will be asking artists questions about their experience, their life, how they got into art, and basically the Black artist experience. Following that, we are having our big event. So at 7:30, we will be having our live stream virtual concerts, hosting a number of spoken word artists, singers, instrumentalists. And that is hosted by our director of music, Senny Rains. And we are so excited. There's some pretty insane talent that's going to be live streamed on YouTube. The link is on the Eventbrite link in our bio, which I think all of you guys have registered for tickets for. And yeah, so I hope to see you guys all this weekend. Thank you for coming. The support is literally so heartwarming and just really encouraging, especially during this time. I want to give a super big shout out to Gabby for presenting tonight. I am so excited to see all that you do in the future. Love watching your TikToks, and I'm literally so excited for your music. Love watching your story. So guys, please follow her, support her, show her all the love.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Guys.
Yes.